until you slowly start gaining that momentum, and it could take a month for some people. If you're really lucky, it could take years. And I think that just understanding that you're going to have to put I hate saying the grind, but you're going to have that time frame where you're doing school full time, you're doing this you're not sleeping as much, and you're really just putting in the work. But honestly, like those are the golden years when you look back. And no, I agree. I think it is the hardest when you're starting.
Yeah.
But once you get past that starting point, it's just momentum.
What's up, everybody? This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining Gym. SuperTraining Gym, the strongest gym in the West. I'm joined today by Christian Guzman.
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me, Mark.
Yeah, thank you for being here, man. We got a great bench session in today. He hit up a 360-pound bench press. Probably been a little while since you've gone that heavy.
Yeah, maxed out. First time ever maxing out, trying to intentionally pause, so that was really good.
Christian has built up a tremendous following on Instagram, tremendous following on YouTube, has done a great job with multiple businesses. How have you been able to build up a business and build up this following that you have?
I think that, to be honest, a lot of it was good timing, and there's a little bit of luck in there. So I kind of entered in that 2011, 2012 when YouTube was
I knew it. You're just lucky.
Hitting off. But other than that, I've never taken a break in 6-7 years of doing it. I really enjoy what I do, making videos and reaching people and just providing content that I've never had to take a break. And I think by being consistent with it, dedicating yourself to it, I don't know, I guess over time that kind of built everything up.
You seem to be really passionate about the business side of things. How hard are you working on these things? Like what's the typical day look like for you?
So normally on a weekday, if I'm home, I'll wake up, I'm not a 4 a.m. guy, but I'll wake up, 6:37, and I like to immediately get to my work. So I'll go to the office early. I like being the first one in there because you kind of have a nice, 1-2 hours just by yourself before, the crew comes in.
Do you like that from a mental perspective too, that you just you own the place and you are the first guy through the door kind of thing?
100%. 100%, and I'm super ADD, so I need to put my headphones on, have like a dark room, low light, and I just get all my, my really task, the heavy load of stuff done. And then the team comes in, we do all the team, we do designs and all this stuff all day. And I like to work out midday, and then I get back to work, and then finally around 6-7 o'clock, go home, eat some dinner, go hang out with the girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's my day, over and over again.
Yeah, just kind of repetitively, right? Yeah, I kind of do something similar. When I wake up, I like to immediately try to figure out how am I going to get myself in a peak state? How am I going to get myself feeling good and almost prepped for a really good day?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do to be able to be prepared for a really good day? How do you kind of manage the day? How do you manage the stresses of life? Do you prioritize sleep? Do you prioritize recovery, relaxation, meditation, anything like that?
I think the biggest thing for me is I have to have a shut-off time at night. I can't be working from the moment I wake up to, I just get frustrated, and I start, what's the point of this? I just need a little break. So I like to really be sure I work as hard as I can early in the day. I get everything I can done, but around 7:30, I need to shut off. And I think it's important to be able to have that downtime where you save an hour for the day just to hang out, just to watch an episode or two of Netflix and just have that shut-off time. And that's sort of like my time where I get to, clear my head, and then, 6-7 hours of sleep, and then I'm ready for the next day.
Where do you think this drive came from? Have you been born like this? Did you have like a mentor, or is it a mom or dad or something like that kind of instilled some of this in you?
I think that whenever I really like something, I get really obsessed with it. So for me, the first thing for me was actually guitar. When I started liking guitar, I just became, I've seen every guitar instruction video on YouTube, back then, and then it kind of shifted to fitness, so I got really into it, and I would kind of just ignore everything else going on. And back in the day, Greg Plitt was a massive inspiration for me, RIP. Just Matt Ogas, Chris Jones, all these YouTube guys were putting out information, and I wanted to look like them. I wanted a six-pack, and I wanted to get big. I was my height at 115, 120 pounds, so you can imagine I was very skinny, and I wanted to put some muscle on. So I kind of figured, why not? And I ordered a camera and just started kind of uploading some content, and I feel like I knew enough to share.
Wow, that actually makes, that makes it so much more understandable on how you got so many people following you, because you have good perspective into what it felt like. What it felt like to be one of those kids that didn't feel as big as they wanted to be, that didn't have the muscle mass. And so by following some of these other guys and by being inspired by them, it really lifted you. What is something that, you go to a lot of these trade shows. We just came back from the LA Fit Expo. What is something that you're like most proud of when you communicate with your fans?
I think just the fact that it's not a, hey, can I grab a photo? It's so much more than that. And each person, you can talk to each person that waits in line for 30 minutes, and I think the fact that they have so much to say, and you have, I'm interested in what they're doing and what are you studying, like what are your goals, and I think that the way the channel sort of evolved over the years just allows me to be more personal with everybody, and I think that, I don't know, it's just amazing. I love it.
It's like overwhelming. Like, it's not overwhelming that there's fans. It's like you get used to that after a while. It's not overwhelming that there's a lot of them, but it's what they tell you is overwhelming. Like, you changed my life.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I was just filming my food, but that's fantastic that I've helped you.
Mm-hmm. It makes it all, obviously, like, oh yeah, I'm just vlogging, but there's a lot of work. There's 7 years of consistently making things a priority, of getting, not only doing business, but getting content out and recording, and it just makes it all worth it and makes you want to keep going.
So you're heavily involved in these videos. Like, you're not only the face of the video, you're actually holding the camera.
I hold the camera, I edit. Yeah, I have a little bit of help during Summer Shredding, which is my diet series. But I mean, yeah, we'll pump out a video a day or video every other day and just try to keep our quality as high as possible. And I mean, that's a full-time job right there, and that's just like a piece of it.
One thing that I find really cool about entrepreneurs is that, the stuff that you've already done is most likely the hardest stuff that you'll ever do. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, sometimes people don't understand that, we all have to overcome a lot to kind of get to where we are. And when you're talking about editing these videos, and yeah, it is stuff that you're choosing to do. And obviously, like, we're not trying to say that your life is bad from having to do that. It's actually good. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of work that has to be done. And so sometimes somebody might look at someone like you and just think, man, he's got it easy, because you got this beautiful girlfriend, you got a beautiful house, you got this beautiful gym, you got beautiful cars, and so they're just kind of maybe a misconception.
You see the end goal, but you don't see the years of editing without any return, editing without getting paid. You don't see that part of it. You just see the end, and that's so easy to say about anyone, or anyone that's built anything. Oh, like, he was probably just put in that position or whatever. But I think that, if you want to be a filmmaker, it's going to take years of making videos. You'll work for free. You're going to work for people for free. You're going to get your content out. You're going to bust your ass and see nothing back until you slowly start gaining that momentum. And it could take a month for some people. If you're really lucky, it could take years. And I think that just understanding that you're going to have to put I hate saying the grind, but right. You're going to have that time frame where you're doing school full time, you're doing this you're not sleeping as much, and you're really just putting in the work. But honestly, like, those are the golden years when you look back. And no, I agree. I think it is the hardest when you're starting. Yeah. But once you get past that starting point, it's just momentum.
And if there's anything that makes it easy, it's the fact that these are all things that we are choosing to do. Mm-hmm. And that's why he, reluctantly says the word grind. That's why I've always kind of outwardly preached against that word, because I don't feel like we're in a grind. No. Because this is all a choice. We're not in like a third world country.
You love what you're doing too. Like, if you find the right thing that you really like, then it shouldn't feel like that. You should just want to do it.
And it's not like we're putting on a hard hat or chopping down trees, or we're not saving the planet or anything like that. It's we're making fitness videos basically. And so when you kind of put it in that perspective, these are things that we love to do, and so therefore it's not hard to devote a lot of time into it. You did a tremendous job building an apparel brand, mm-hmm. and then you started like an energy drink. And I mean, how have you been able to execute so well in business? Did you go to school for business? Did you read a book, or how did some of this come to be?
I started making videos, and then after a few years, I figured, hey, maybe I can sell some tank tops. So I think I ordered like 50 tank tops, and I think with
stringers.
There were 4 tanks. I couldn't pull off a stringer back then. So for me, I think it wasn't so much like, oh, I have this idea to do this big business or anything. I think really it was like step by step. You know, if a door opened up, I would try it, or I would walk through it, and slowly just things started, you know, and things scaled up and grew, and then, and yeah, I think kind of go with the flow. You know, that's how I've kind of lived my whole life, but go with the flow while still wanting more and wanting to excel and wanting to get better and create better products and create just better videos and always step it up, you know, that's kind of the thought process.
You just shared a tremendous amount of information with me and my team. Really appreciative of that. Christian just gave us like $500,000 worth of consulting, and I just really appreciate the honesty and how a lot of times people aren't willing to share, especially when we're in a similar space and everything. How did you learn some of these things? I mean, you know, obviously you're learning on a day-to-day basis from the things that you do right and the things that you do wrong. Are you keeping track of these things? Are you meticulous? Are you writing things down and things like that? Or?
I think, like you said, we've messed up a lot, and we've gone through a lot. We've tested things, and we're still figuring out our way. I mean, it's just whatever we've done. If there's any way I can save you some time or hassle, like I don't see a reason why we wouldn't. You know, you hope that the people around would do the same, but by doing that yourself, I feel like it all comes back full circle. So really just trial and error, noticing trends, and I'm not really like I'm not an organized guy. I'm like the kind of big picture guy, but I have, you know, employees that are put in place with those strong points. So they keep me organized, they keep the accounts flow, they keep everything, you know, structured up and everything. So I can focus on the stuff I like to do and the big picture stuff and the creativeness, and then they're able to kind of accent that. So.
And you know, with organization being a weakness of yours, how important has it been to be organized over the last 2 years?
I wouldn't say it's a weakness. It's just I have a lot of things going on. I just kind of fire off ideas and this and that. So I'll get. Yeah, I would say that it is very important, but by finding people that are organized. So we have a specific person I work with on events, and then a specific person for accounts and for different roles. So I get to work with different people. So I'm not just overbearing with, like, you know, just blurting out things I want. I know who to go to for what.
Right.
And so luckily we've kind of set people in place that can make those details, you know, do all those fine tuning and make things happen and come to fruition.
Having a good team must be really important for because you're diving into some different businesses. Like having a, you know, natural progression. You start to get a following, and it makes sense. People are digging your style and digging the clothes you're wearing, and so it makes sense that you start to, you know, make apparel. But the energy drink, like, where did this come from?
So I've always been a fan of White Monsters. I would pick one up every time I went to the gas station, and I guess people kind of started associating me with that. And you know, it got to a point where I was like, man, I would love to kind of do my own thing. I played around with, you know, like a 5-hour energy shot kind of concept. I played around with an energy drink, and that was always the goal. But you know, there's a lot of, essentially, long story short, found a way to make it happen. Found a partner that was able to accent the things that I didn't know. There's a whole different side of the business. There's the online marketing, but then there's the in-person meetings and negotiations and all this, and they were experienced in that field. And so honestly, it was a great partnership, and now we're really looking at blowing it up in 2019, 2020.
So a couple people in the comments section just blew their lid because they're like, he got sued or whatever. Like,
oh yeah, making mistakes along the way.
So that was something that you guys had to kind of shift gears and go in a different direction, basically.
And just being a little bit too stubborn. And honestly, like I said, I'm a very big I kind of jump, right? And so if a consequence is going to happen, it's going to happen. And I learned a big lesson with that. And yeah, it's just learning and growing.
Right. And, you know, a lot of times these things, I always say that these setbacks that we have, they're really setups. You know, they're setups for something bigger. So I think that you're, you know, going to continue to grow and have more success, you know, based off of those, you know, those negative things have happened. What are some things that you've noticed that are directly in line with building a body and building a business?
I think just little progression here and there. If it's a 1/4 inch on your biceps, or if it's 5 pounds on your bench, or in the business world, if it's you know, your growth for the year or for the month is coming up like that. I think that it's just all little tokens of motivation, right? And it just keeps you going, and that should fire you up to keep going. And if it's not firing you up, then you probably don't love what you're doing. And so I think that just the little progression steps that you constantly make is just, that's everything. That's all. That's everything. That's what you live for, really.
Right. You have acquired a lot of knowledge when it comes to business, when it comes to being in the fitness industry. What are some things that maybe you can point people to in terms of like books or podcasts? Is there anything that Christian Guzman listens to on kind of a weekly basis to learn, or is there other people you're following? What Rob and Dana Lynn Bailey are doing, or some other people in the industry you're following?
I think just for me, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really read any books. I've never been
guilty
over
here.
I'm a very visual person. So for me, like seeing Greg Plitt, like I probably watched every bit. I had a membership on his site. Everything I watched probably 3-4 times. Right, Dalen. I would just like look at the people that were doing well and like I was, man, that's so sick.
Greg was really motivational. I remember him.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He was shredded too.
Exactly. And then like even like Matt Ogus, he had macro videos and all this stuff, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna watch it again. Alberto, let me watch it again. Let me understand it. And once you can like really just teach yourself, I don't know, I would just kind of absorb all the information, kind of create it my own way, and then I would, spread it out in the way I understood. So no, there's not really anything I listen to on Gary Vee is awesome. I like tuning into his stuff, and that's just a totally different world, so it makes you really think outside the box. But other than that, I just really try to stay in my zone and associate with people around me that are doing well, and just kind of keep going,
What's a harder thing to do? And I've asked this of other people that have competed to step foot on stage. Is it hard? And I want you to actually think about this question for a couple seconds before you answer. Is it harder to be in contest prep, or is it harder after the contest?
Oh, right after the contest. Then you're just lost, and your hormones are all messed up, and oh man, yeah. And that's actually, I'm gonna try a shorter prep, a little bit shorter of a prep than previous years, because those long preps, and they just mess me up really bad.
1 day prep?
one day prep. Now I'm gonna try a 10 to 12 week. I think I can do about 11 weeks. But anytime I go 16, 20, like right after, it's bad. I'm messed up for a longer period of time, so I want to see if I can kind of dip in, dip out, and a little bit quicker. That's still a long prep. 12 weeks is not short by any means, but compared to a lot of people who do half a year, I can't. I'm not that meticulous with my stuff.
How do you feel, right now, as opposed to when you're, in shape on stage? Does it mess with you? Because I mean, you're still in amazing shape all the time, but you're just not in the same shape you were on stage. Does it hurt you mentally and psychologically a little bit?
Less than it did years ago. Yeah, I would say the first few times.
It's a real struggle.
First when you compete and you see yourself look so lean, and you look so much bigger, and you're, oh my God, my veins are probably, and then you go back to this, it's just a normal, healthy body fat percentage. It messes with you, and then you want to start dieting again, and then you're bulking, then you're cutting, and I know I got to lean, I'm doing another show. But I think right now, the fact that I try to diet once a year during my off time, I've realized, hey, it's all right. It's all right. There's a time and place for it. There's a time and place to get lean and get shredded, so I need to capitalize on the time I have off to really just gain whatever I can. I'm only gaining, every year I'll go up maybe a pound or 2 on stage, so it's really small increments. It's a lot of work for very, very little, and spread that pound across your whole body. It's like, wow, it's really worth it. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah.
Yeah, like here's what I looked in 2016 and here's what I look in 2019, and people look at the picture like, you kind of look the same.
Yeah. Are you
like, well, yeah. Oh, it's hard. It's hard to really make those improvements. Is there anything that you do from a nutrition standpoint that would be fairly easy for some people to follow along with, like 2 or 3 things that are just, especially like
some basic rules?
Yeah, especially like right now when you're not like dieting.
Yeah, I don't count my macros all year round whatsoever, to be honest.
Why?
It's too tired. It's too stressful on the brain. It's too much to think about. Then you just become obsessed. And even when I'm dieting, to be honest, if I'm gonna be real, is I don't really track. I've been doing it long enough so I can kind of estimate. I know where my carbs are at roughly, a range, but I don't really start tracking to the gram until 4, maybe 5 weeks out. The first 6-7 weeks, I notice that I'm okay mentally longer if I'm doing my macro and kind of just eating, cleaning everything up, and then I fine tune when I need to fine tune, when my progress halts a little bit, and yeah. You don't want to burn yourself out, and I've definitely done that before. Your rebounds are terrible. You never want to count a macro again. So I think kind of by realizing that about yourself and knowing when you need to let off the gas and when you need to push it hard. That's been really good for me.
Awesome, man.
So I won't get Alberto to do my macros. I know he'll be on me, and I'm like, hey, yo, I got to do my own way for the first 2 weeks, okay? And then I'll fine tune towards the end.
Yeah, he'll just hammer you and make it too hard right off the bat, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to hit 305 grams of carbs today. I'm going to hit 285.
Something to kind of realize and to put in perspective too is when you've been doing these things for as long as Christian's been doing them, your worst day is still better than your previous worst days. So sometimes a guy like this might come on here and say, this time of year I kind of eat whatever I want, but your version of eat whatever you want still probably has some rules to it, right?
Yeah.
Do you use fasting, or do you try to just limit the amount of
like fasting? Yeah.
Do you try to limit the amount of meals that you have, or
for me,
try not to stuff yourself? Or
I do have a pretty quick metabolism. I was 120 pounds when I was before I started lifting. Just skinny wrists, skinny ankles, the whole deal. 29-inch waist. So for me, I really do have to push the calories pretty high to gain. So I'm really not that tight. For me, I'd try to hit at least 1 gram of protein. I try when I'm bulking to keep my fat lower. I try to shoot my carbs up high. I'd rather my carbs go way high, skyrocket up, than have my fat be 200 grams a day. And for bulking, that's really it. For when I'm cutting, I'll do 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per body weight. I like to keep my fats around 60 grams maybe per day, and my carbs I keep high, 260 to 300 grams a day, and I'll incorporate cardio where need be, and that's kind of like my system.
Yeah, I think it's when I'm hearing somebody like Christian explaining, counting the macros, weighing the food, doing the cardio, sometimes having multiple training sessions in a day, all I'm really hearing is him talking about discipline and devoting yourself towards a particular goal, and then aligning your thoughts and your actions with those goals. And so those of you that follow this channel and you find inspiration through the exercise, you find the inspiration through business, if you want to be really good at business, start putting your ass on the line, start putting your body on the line when it comes to strength training, or try to get yourself compete. Try to get yourself on a stage somewhere. It's not easy to do. It's very, very difficult. Or just to write down some goals. Maybe you just want to lose 20 pounds. Write down that goal and start to kind of do some of the things he's mentioning to align your actions with your goals. And you're going to be able to create a lot more discipline. And because of that, you're going to be able to get to where you want to go that much easier. So that's a lot of what I hear when I hear guys like yourself speaking.
Do a show. It's a little momentum. You say you're going to do it, you accomplish it, check. Then you go into the business world and you go into relationships, and it's all a snowball effect. And then your life is just you're a motivating person. You just do what you say you're going to do. You're going to grow a business. You grow the business. You just end up doing it. So I think it's just learning lessons. And I think shows, triathlons, meets are just great. It's a great metaphor. It's literally,
Did you get better or not? Yeah,
exactly.
And if you're really, really nervous and really conservative and you're not sure, and just go to a powerlifting gym. Go to his gym. Check out a gym. Check out a local competition or local meet. If you go to a powerlifting meet and never been to one before, even if you're not participating in it, you're going to meet other powerlifters. All you have to do is open your mouth, go over and talk to somebody and say, hey, like where are the people around here train at? And they'll say, oh, they train at SuperTraining or wherever you might be. So, don't be scared. Take that first step. And this is Christian Guzman. Appreciate you coming out so much. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later.